Hello everyone and welcome to Unfiltered with Matt. Today we're going to review episode 6 of Queer as Folk on Peacock. Like I talked about last time, I was really excited how we left off episode 5 with some cliffhanger kind of drama for Ruthie. And in this episode we actually get to learn a lot more about Ruthie, and I'm excited to actually get to go through that journey. So let's get started and let's start talking about it. So in the beginning of the episode, we get this flashback, and this is, throughout the episode, there's just flashback sequences. And normally in TV shows, I'm not too much for the development of, going back in time, because I feel like there's so much in the present time that I still want to know. But in this episode, it does make sense why we're going backwards, and it really, I think, explains Ruthie as a character and why they are the way they are. So we go back to Ruthie in school, and this is prior to transition for Ruthie. And we get to see that, Ruthie's having a difficult time in school. You get to see the early signs, at least from the beginning sequence in the episode, that Ruthie is struggling with something that she quite doesn't know what it is. You get to see Brody, a younger version of Brody, played by the same actor, but they changed the hair and what they're wearing. You get to see him also in the sequence that they were, going to school together. They're both going to, I think it's Catholic school, together. And now you're probably going to get to see hopefully more about Brody, because we haven't got much development for Brody at all, really. It's just his interactions with everyone else floating around him. And then we cut scene to the present time for Ruthie, where she is facing consequences at the school for her drinking and partying, and it's posted by the students, and there's some consequences that she's going to potentially face at her job for this. Now, I'm going to take a step back, and I think I'm going to defend Ruthie and say, it is her time. She wasn't harming anyone. However, I do understand the school's standpoint that, there were students there, so it's not the best image for a school to have a teacher be partying around students. Of course, I also think maybe the students shouldn't have been there based on their age. Again, Ruthie's not making the best choices, and this is the episode where Ruthie is going to face those consequences. Ruthie is upset in this episode after going to, facing the consequences with the school about the pictures, and she really does blame Brody for this. And Cher, who's the voice of reason in their relationship, confronts Ruthie and says that she needs to admit that it's also Ruthie's problem. And I'm like, thank you, Cher, finally reason, because Ruthie has been acting this way and no one has been able to confront them, but Cher is that person. Through this, like I talked about, there's lots of flashbacks, and we also get to see that Brody and Ruthie, prior to Ruthie's transition, were in a romantic relationship. You see that they're kissing and that they say that they love each other. Ruthie does get in trouble for being out of uniform, and she is forced to put a tie on to get back in uniform for the class, which, is uncomfortable for her. And I only could be imagined being forced to do something that is not comfortable to you. At the time, Brody did not know what Ruthie was going through. You also get to see a little bit more about, like I said, Brody and that his relationship with his father. His father is not satisfied that Brody is just getting, A minuses. That's not good enough for him. And you saw that in episode 1, that Brody did not have a good connection with his father as well. And the absence of the character kind of makes sense, this little bit of interaction, because it adds to that here. He only comes in to say, like, hey, your grades are not good enough, and then that's it. I mean, he probably would have hated me as a kid, because I was like a C student. And not until I went to college did I do better. Interesting to discover that Brody's parents at the time didn't know he was gay. And I think that Ruthie, trying to discover herself, you know, tells Brody that they should come out to the parents, and especially Brenda. Brenda would probably be more understanding. And Brody says, like, no, Brenda's more like, my friends are gay, not, it's different when your kid is gay. And I can relate to that a little bit. I had the same reason of why I held back telling my parents until I was in my 20s that I was gay. So, there I was like, you know what, this is speaking truth to me, because I felt that same way. Like, think it's maybe my parents accepted with other people, but how would they feel about their own son? So Ruthie and Brody, together they decide that they're going to go to the dance for the school as a couple. And Brody's getting dressed in his suit at this store, and Ruthie, is really struggling. You could tell is having anxiety with being there. It's going through a lot in her head, and tells Brody, we need to break up. And, Brody's like kind of taken aback by this. And, Ruthie's saying, like, I really don't know what's going on with me. I don't know. And I just, uh, need to, call it off. And Ruthie goes away. Brody, at this point, has already gotten clues of what the struggles Ruthie is going through. And he buys Ruthie a dress, which Ruthie says is hideous. And she opens up to him. And she indicates that, that she really wanted to go to the dance with Brody, but she just couldn't, again, put on a suit. Brody, I think, accidentally picks Ruthie's name after a girl in a real world. You get also this jump to present time where Ruthie is, still upset with Brody. They're going to this like Mardi Gras parade where they're throwing beads to everybody. Brody, when he's having a fight, or actually goes up to Ruthie and says, hey, I want to do something. Did you lose your job? And Ruthie was like, no, I just got reprimanded. I'm going to be suspended until, I think it's the next semester, fall or something like that. And then Brody was like, oh, okay, then what's the big deal? And then Ruthie's like, really? Really? Like, you don't realize what pain you've caused and everything, and you're not taking care, even any consideration? In the back and forth, Brody calls Ruthie by her name prior to the transition. Obviously very upsetting and wrong. And then Ruthie comes back and tells Brody that Noah and Dadius were together, and that she was the better version of herself when Brody wasn't around. Maybe that person did exist and we didn't get to see it, because we did get introduced to Ruthie when, Brody's coming back. And he's causing a lot of stir and commotion. We do get to see that Ruthie also gets to also release her other caring side. She sees that Mingus, is flirting and going through, with these other guys, and she says, be safe, be careful, and she says, if you need to talk to somebody, I'm here. Maybe Brody brought back that younger person of Ruthie, who was a little more rebellious, like we saw when they came back. And I get Ruthie wanting to be more carefree. She did spend most of her childhood confined and, worrying about others and discovering herself. That most of her youth was not spent enjoying things, not spent having fun, was mostly probably spent, being conflicted and in a negative place. So I could see, as a development as a character for Ruthie, her being a little more immature when she's older. And then I guess for Brody, you could see that his dad was strict with things and he had to be a certain way, and now he's just rebellious and kind of freaking everything up. It's probably the worst time for Ruthie, to be rebellious, when at the same time she is having a family and does have responsibilities between her job and everything. But I guess, as you get older, what are you going to do? Am I going to live my life, this way, or am I going to try to experience some freedom? And it's that conflict there, and that compression that happens in your life that she's experiencing right now. So I can empathize with that. So in this episode, we get a little more development between Noah and Julian. Yay. Noah's dad is in town. He does not have a good relationship with his dad. Julian is the first person to ever meet Noah's dad. And that's because Julian offers to be support for Noah. And I really enjoy that there's little cute moments between them, and them being able to have this real relationship while everyone else is just getting messed up. Noah says that nobody he has dated in the past has really met his father, and you can see why. Because when they meet, Noah's dad is a jerk. So with Brody, we get to see, he's still struggling with the events of Babylon, and I do like that there's a scene where, he sees this the dog car that he was in the back of when he was getting carried to the hospital after, for his gunshot injuries. He stops to look at it. And I do like that the show is still referencing a little bit of what happened in Babylon, because it was a big event. And also the trial that's going on at the same time. A lot of people think that after trauma that things move quickly, and really it's a continuous journey that can take a long time. Mourning takes time. Dealing with pain and hurt takes time. And for Brody, he's seeing that, Ruthie is like brushing him off and everything, and I don't think that they've maybe fought in the past like this. So I think he's probably surprised. And I was surprised considering it's Brody, and I thought that Ruthie would do anything. But Brody's finally getting at least some challenges in this episode. I mean, when there's one thing like between Ruthie and Brody that I will give, to Brody. Ruthie definitely needs to take some responsibility. She says to Brody, like, "Hey, Brody, I keep on hanging out with you. I keep on leaving my kids. I'm missing things from my kids." In reality, she's wanted to leave the whole time. So to blame Brody there, and I hate that. I mean, I'm probably defending Brody here, but that's a little unfair, considering that you haven't been with the kids. Even when you're alone, you say bad things. So you can't blame Brody for that. And, Ruthie says that Brody never shows up for her. And maybe a little bit, I could see how that's true. I can see, actually. They both went through the shooting, and they really didn't check up on each other at all. I think it's about time that Brody does get some development and background. But really, in this episode, it's really Ruthie's story. We do get to see at the end of the episode that the shooter is found guilty on all charges. And this is while Brody's walking towards, from the parade where he just got in a fight with Ruthie. And then Brody sees Dadius in the bar, who he's also probably upset with because Dadius has been sleeping with Noah. And for some reason, Noah is seen by Brody as still being his. So at the end of the episode, Brody confronts Noah and tells him, like, "Hey, you keep on saying that you're this good person, and guess what? You're just as bad as me." And I kind of don't get that, because guess what? Brody was gone. So Noah was in a relationship with Dadius while he was gone. Why does that make him a bad person? Brody is thinking that everybody needs to revolve around him. So, sorry, Brody, I don't get that argument at all. So you can't call, like, Noah a bad person because your feelings are hurt. You need to get over yourself. That's what I was just like talking to the TV and going, "You need to get over yourself, Noah." Or Brody, "You need to get over yourself, Brody." Brody getting mad at him is like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And Noah feels like the need to explain and apologize, but he thinks when Brody is confronting him that Brody is talking about his relationship with his brother, Julian. And he says, "Hey, I really wanted to tell you, we wanted to tell you that I'm dating Julian." And Noah goes, "I was talking about Dadius, not Julian. Julian, what?" I don't know. I just went crazy there. So, Julian comes from the bedroom. He has a shirt off. He's looking down at Brody, and Brody goes, "You little bastard." And I'm just thinking the whole time, Brody, you have some nerve. Get over yourself. So in this episode, you were hurt by lots of people, but guess what? Ruthie, your argument with her, you had some involvement in that, and she's pissed at you? Sure, you have to take some ownership for that, because you know what, it is a little irresponsible that the reason why Brody called Ruthie was just because he was having an awkward moment with Mingus, and it was just to get out of it. So, listen, and then you go on and do your life and do your things, and then, you know, Noah has a relationship with somebody and you get pissed, and then you also break up with Brody later on, you know, they kind of separate, and then you're sleeping with two people, you know, and don't even act like you care, but the minute that your brother ends up with Noah, you're upset again. Again, Brody, get over yourself. So overall, I really did enjoy this episode. I like the little drama here. I think that I'm excited to see, hopefully, what happens in the next episode with Brody. I am sad we only have, I think, maybe 2 more episodes to go. I'm not sure how we're going to fit this when things are finally getting good. I did see a review that indicated they wish that Queer as Folk had more episodes, and I do agree with them. Because, listen, I'm not even sure if it's going to be part 2, and in part 2, or season 2, we're not sure if it's going to be renewed for season 2, and I saw the creators indicating that they really want to get more development for this other secondary characters. Now, I agree with that, but I feel like in 8 episodes, how could you really even explore the main characters? I know I'm just scratching the surface with Ruthie. I hardly know really anything about Brody besides he's just pissing people off. Brenda, okay, I can give you that because I really don't know much about Brenda. I do like the relationship between her and Cher. I would like to actually get to know a little more development between Cher and Brenda, because I feel like, geez, Cher's just sitting back and doing everything, and we could see little things like, oh, Cher's responsible. I am worried also about Mingus and what's being set up here. You know, the dangerous path he's going under, like with his caring for Brody, him sleeping around. I hope he doesn't get hurt, because you see like the other characters being concerned about him as well. And Brody needs to face his inner demons. He's either running away, like I said, or making someone pissed. So tell me what you think of this episode. Did you enjoy the conflict between Brody, Ruthie, and really Brody and everybody? Do you think that he deserved what he got? Do you think maybe I should be a little nicer to Brody? I hope that you enjoyed today's review. Please leave a comment, like the video, hit the notification bell, subscribe. I really do enjoy even just one like, a subscription, or a view. I really am excited and really am enjoying the fact that other people are enjoying the show with me. And until next time, I hope you all stay safe and well. Thank you.